Hi, my name is Pop. I'm making a video that shows how to use the sort command in a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet I am using is called Calc, and it's part of LibreOffice. More than likely you will be using Excel. Excel is a Microsoft product and it runs on either a Windows PC or on a Mac. And Calc is usually being run on Unix, Linux, Ubuntu, but it also is available on both Mac and on a PC, and it is free of charge. The sort tutorial that I'm going to be giving, I'm going to give a lot of detail and go very slow. I'm going to assume nobody knows how to use a computer very much. I've got a list of numbers here in column A, which I've highlighted by tapping on A. And I'm going to tap on row 1, and I've got a 32 in it. In fact, I've got this in A1. You name column first, which is A, then row. This is A2, and A2 has a 0 in it. Columns go up and down, like the columns that hold up the porch on a house, and rows go across. I've filled rows 1 through 6, and the numbers in this column are not sorted. They are neither ascending, going from 0 to 100, nor descending, going from 100 to 0. And I want to use the computer to automatically sort. And this tutorial, this video, is going to show everything about sort. On this spreadsheet, we've got up on the top here a bunch of headings. And it's going to be a little bit different on Excel. But on LibreOffice Calc, the way you get sort is to go to Data and hit Sort. And when you do, another screen pops up and it asks you, do you want to go ascending? That would be A to Z, or 0 to 100. Or do you want to go descending, 100 down to 0? Or indeed, if you have numbers that are less than 0, which are negative, they would then be at the bottom. Similarly, if you had numbers which were negative and were using ascending, the negative numbers would appear at the top. It automatically selects column A because that's the only thing I've got, column A. So let's go ahead and hit OK, and it instantly changed over to show 0 to 100. Now let's do the opposite. Data, sort, descending, OK. Now it's 100 to 0. Well, let's complicate our lives and make this a little bit more difficult. I have all of these sheets pre-arranged down here. That was sheet 1. Let's go to sheet 2. Instead of numbers, let's say that we've got names. Well, let's see, are these guys alphabetical or not? A, J, E, no, they're not. Almost, but S should follow R. Looks like S would be the last one if we were going in ascending. Let's do it again. Data, sort, ascending, and look, it says column C. What's the deal with that? Well, the deal with that is I'm in column C with my cursor. So let me go back over here and now sort again. And it says sort by atoms. Now that's unusual. Atoms is listed number 1, right? Or undefined. Well, see, I am confused already. Let's go to options. range contains column labels. No, it does not. I see what the computer was doing. It was hoping that the very first item in row 1 was a label for the column. I'm going to now do it again. It still says atoms. Well, we're going to have to get rid of that without canceling, and now hit OK. And it goes A through S. Let's do it again in descending. I want to make darn sure that that range column label stuff is turned off. Let's see what happens if I don't turn it off. I'm going to assume everything would be sorted except for row 1. Yeah, look at that. If you go alphabetically and start at the bottom and go up, it goes A to Z except for row 1, which it's calling a column header. So when you do a sort, you've got to make darn sure that the column label check mark is unchecked. And now everything is sorted in descending order. Well, let's make life even more complicated and go to sheet 3. Here I have got a list of names, and that's in column A. Here I've got grades in a class in column B. And I'm a teacher. Let's pretend that I have got students with grades on a test, and I want to sort this in various ways. One way I might want to sort it is to alphabetize the list, and that would be the students' names in column A sorted in ascending order A through Z. That makes sense. You would see that from time to time. Also, on another occasion, you may want to see the way it is just right now. The highest grade listed first in descending order. Poor Edwards got a 0. Adams made a perfect score. When we do a sort on 2 columns, what we're actually doing is grabbing a rectangular grid. I'm going to now hold down the Control key and show you two corners of this grid are lit up. Please notice I use the Control key. When I use the Control key, it only lit up and grabbed 2 corners. I could grab other corners here, and when I hold down the Control key, it just gets those 2 corners. In fact, when you hold the Control key, you can grab any 2 cells, and that does not help you. What you really want to do is grab the whole grid, and with that you hold down the Shift key. Now I'm holding the Shift key and tapping, and there I've got the whole grid. Now when I sort, it's going to sort on 2 columns, and it's only going to grab the items that are in rows 1 through 6. In fact, now that we're on that subject, let's go back briefly to sheet 1. If I go and grab everything in column A, and I tell it to sort 0 to 100, that's ascending, and I do this, I want to pose a question to you. How do we know that, well, how does the computer know not to, for instance, grab 7? row 7 has nothing in it, and nothing precedes 0 and 1. So why did the computer not put all of these blank rows all the way in the front and then put 0, 32, 55, 87, 98, and 100 at the very end at the bottom of the spreadsheet? Well, it has some built-in intelligence which allows it to circumvent that logical necessity. Let us say, for instance, though, that I did want to include some not just 0 values, but rather blank values. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold down my Shift key now, and I'm going to sort rows 1 through 7. And if I do this in ascending order, the blank row should be at the beginning. And it didn't. Why not? I mean, I have selected the blank row. The blank row's got nothing in it. Let's look at options. I've got this unchecked. Enable natural sort. No. Let's go further and just select 3 rows right here. They are in ascending order. They go 55 to 98. Let's make them in descending order. Just what I selected, okay? 0 is where it used to be, 32 is where it used to be, and then the 3 rows that I grabbed are in descending order. 98, 87, 55, and 100 is where it used to be in ascending order. Let's do this then. Well, let's try this. I have grabbed 4 rows, row 7 being one with nothing in it. And I'm going to sort in ascending order. Let's try it. Nope. The computer knows to grab only cells with values in it, and it will not grab a cell that has nothing in it. You have to tell it to do so. And how do you do that if you wanted to do that? Well, let's try options again. Case sensitive, all right. Do you want to do range contains column labels? Still will not work, will it? I want to change horses in midstream and amplify on a concept. I had demonstrated that you could grab an entire range by selecting one cell in the range and then going to another cell in the range, and while holding down the Shift key, selecting everything. And remember, by holding down the Control key, that doesn't work because you're only grabbing 2 different cells. So I'm going to now show something else. There is a built-in intelligence in the sort program where when I sort, I don't even have to grab anything. It does it automatically. Let's go ascending, and I'm going to just check my options here, but I'm going to cancel. And see, look, it already selected everything there. And this works every time. In fact, let us say you have got a list of teachers in column A and grades in column B, and you can be on any cell within this grid of A1 through B6. And when you ask a sort out of this, you do not have to do anything. All you have to do is tell it which column to use and whether to go ascending or descending. Let's go grades, lowest grade first, ascending. But first, let me cancel. You see what I mean? It picked the entire grid. I did not have to manually go in and do that. This is a very good program in that regard. Let's go ahead and do the sort then. Column B, grades lowest to highest. And there they are. Let's complicate life further. You sort of painted yourself into a corner. You've got first name and last name. And now if you're a grade school teacher, you may want to sort by the first name. But more than likely, you're going to want to be sorting by last name. And here, the program will only look to J's and B's and J's and R's. How do you tell it to get to the last name? Well, there is a way to do that. What we're going to do is split column A right down the middle, and we're going to use the space in between first name and last name, and we're going to tell it to leave the first name in column A, and we're going to take the last names and put them in a separate list in column B. But I've already got stuff in column B. So rather than write over it and destroy my grades, I'm going to select everything in column B and move it over here. There's different ways you can do that. One thing I'm going to do is select the whole range. I've got B1 selected. I can go down here to B6, hold down the Shift key, and tap it. And there I've got everything. At this point, I could do a Control X, that's a cut, and then move over here to C1 and use a Control V and paste. There are other things I could do. I could select the entire column and delete it, and then move over here and paste. Let's try different things. Let's just select the whole column, and I'm going to go Control X. Then I'm going over here and hit Control V. That worked. Now I've got an empty column B. What I want to do is find the command which allows me to split. Different spreadsheets are going to have this in different places in LibreOffice Calc. Where is it? You've got to find it. Well, we were in data, and that's sort. Gee. Well, guess what? It's here, text to columns. This is tricky. You have to memorize all this, not only where everything is, but how to do it. I'm going to separate, and I'm going to separate by what? look down here. That doesn't look right. How about if I put in a space? Other? Let's cancel. Go back. Well, I'm on the wrong column. Quite often when you do things in a spreadsheet and you get lost, you will find out that you're doing something just so completely stupid. And you'll look for 15 minutes, you'll look for an hour, sometimes days, and unless somebody else with better eyes helps you, you might find yourself so frustrated and so perplexed. So let's do it again. Now, where was I? Oh my gracious. Was I in Tools? Was I in Data? There we are, Text to Columns. Now look at there. I've got my names. And I want to separate by... Aha! Did that work? It sure did. Now I'm going to hit OK. Shazam! Now I can put my cursor on any cell in this grid. And we're going to sort by last name. That's column B. And let's go A to Z. So now I'm going to go to Data, Sort, column B, OK. Mr. Adams through Mr. Smith. Column B, that is not sorted. Those are first names, and they're random. Column C, the grades are not in any kind of order. Let's do it again. This time we're going to go column C, grades, and let's go descending, highest grade first. Shazam! That's pretty good. Let's say we wanted to print this out, and you're going to put it on the bulletin board. We go to page preview, and it's going to look something like that. Oh, look what happened. It didn't come out right. There it's right, but you would have to turn the paper sideways or print in a different manner in order to get everything to show. I'm going to turn off the print preview now. Look what I did. I almost turned off everything, shut down the whole file. You sure don't want to make a mistake like that, and I just did. One of the things that you can do when you are learning how to do a spreadsheet is to make yourself some notes. And I suggest that you do this for every subject that you study. You don't have to use the computer. You might be more comfortable using a sheet of paper or a notepad, or sort of like a diary. Yeah, there is help programs, but you can search the help programs in a computer forever. And then even so, after you find it, you'll be going back to that same help program and you'll say, gee, I found this last week. I asked the same question. But I am suggesting that you perhaps start a diary and you'll say such things as sort. It doesn't have to be in any kind of order or anything. How to select. Just start writing yourself some notes here. A to Z, how do you do it? Z to A, how do you do it? You can make your notes very, very long, and guess what? I guarantee if you do this, you will hardly even have to go back to the notes to refer to them. The process of writing down things like this in a diary will allow you to study once, and never have to go back and study again. The medical doctors, while they are students, have a saying. Well, there's a couple of sayings. One is, the art is long and life is short, but they have a saying that says, watch one, teach one. No, watch one, do one, teach one. You don't have time to study. Just do it right the first time, and I guarantee if you do this, you will not have to go back and learn it again and again and again, except rarely. So keep yourself a little diary like this, and let's just call this Calc Diary. And I'm done with that. I want to show you something else with the sort. We're going to open it back up again. Recent documents, sort tutorial. You're probably using Excel, and the diary is different. The menu structure is different. All of these things are slightly different. There's a story behind that. The very first spreadsheet that came out that just knocked everyone's socks off was VisiCalc, and it was rather primitive by today's standards. Lotus 1-2-3 then came out back in the world of DOS, before there was Windows, before there was a Macintosh. This was command line driven, and oh my gracious, this took the world by storm. Every business office, every student, everyone was using this. And it had a 2-line menu up here. In other words, every time you hit one of these, at the second line down would be your options. And then you would hit one of those options, it still was 2 lines. And they put everything in 2 lines. Well, the Microsoft Corporation came along and they said, well, we would like to get a piece of this action. So they came out with their own spreadsheet called Multiplan. And what they did is the same thing, except they put the menu down here at the bottom. And they developed Multiplan for every operating system. Not just their own, but they were selling it to everybody. Meanwhile, a guy in France, Philippe Kahn, had a kid born, and he was so proud of his baby that he made the very first camera for a cell phone. He came to the United States. The guy speaks 5 languages, and he started Borland. And Borland came out with a spreadsheet of its own, and it was called Quattro. And Quattro started to eclipse Lotus 1-2-3 and also Multiplan. Well, one of the things that he did was ingenious. It was inspired. When you started up Quattro, and then the enhanced version of Quattro, which came out later, called Quattro Pro, a little screen would ask you at the very beginning, hey, are you used to Lotus 1-2-3? And would you like to see their menu? Or do you like to use Multiplan? And would you like to use their menu at the bottom? Also, the Macintosh people then came out with their own spreadsheet called Excel. The Macintosh people, Apple, sold Excel to the Windows people. And everybody thinks of Excel as a Microsoft product, but it was actually developed, I think, for the Macintosh. Well, Microsoft sued Philippe Kahn. Their argument was that they owned the menu structure for Multiplan and he could not use it. And actually Microsoft won in court, and Borland had to quit including the option to open up the Multiplan menu structure when you were using Quattro. In fact, Borland went one step further even. They had a word processor called AMI Pro, and that word processor would emulate the menu structure of all of the other ones that were out there, which various business offices would use. You would go to a certain business office and one of the first things they would tell you is, well, we're a WordStar shop, or we use another word processor. But see, if you got AMI Pro or Quattro, it didn't make any difference. The look and appearance would emulate whatever you wanted. So I can't tell you which one's better. I can't tell you LibreOffice Calc is better than Excel, or for that matter better than Lotus 123. They're different, that's all. Later I will show how you can actually change this menu structure, and if you want to, you can make it look just like Excel within the limitations of the ability of the program. I say that because Calc has, I would guess, maybe only about 60, 70, 80% of all the things that are included in Excel. Same thing goes for the word processor, Word, which is Windows, and Writer for LibreOffice. It's called Writer rather than Word. And the same thing goes for the database, which is called Impress, and not database, I'm sorry, base. And then Impress is the one that is used for the display program. Well, I got off subject a little bit. I really do recommend that you keep a diary, and when you keep a diary, write down all the things that you learn how to do and the exceptions. And when you do this, I guarantee you will not get messed around the second time when you are working. My name is Pop, and I thank you very much.